Hey, so I just wanted to say before this video starts, I want to give a big shout out to all of my Patreon supporters. Sorry I didn't say it in the video, you'll see I get pretty heated, but I appreciate you infinitely, and without further ado, enjoy the video. Hello everybody, I am not dead yet, and today I am talking about Greg Doucette, who seems to have been banned off of TikTok for, well, I'll play it.
Look, when I'm at the gas station, this ain't no Christian mingle. This ain't farmers only. This ain't no dating site. I'm in and out. Please don't try to, could I get your number, could I get your Snapchat?
Number one fear of men, rejection. And you're going to make a video making fun of him for trying his best to show interest in you.
Yeah, that is what got him banned, and I'm upset about that, and the reactions honestly astonish me, because, like, if you watch the thing all the way through, and if you watch the video he did in response to the comments, it's not a bad message that he's trying to put forward. The basic message of that video, and the one that follows, is be nice to people. Talk to people. You know, we're all lonely, we all want companionship. What's wrong with talking to people? And all the people in the comment section seem to be hung up on this idea of harassment, when in reality we don't actually know what happened, right? There are three things we know for certain. One, someone came up to her and asked for her number or whatever. Two, she didn't feel comfortable with it. And three, she made a TikTok kind of mocking him, saying, oh, don't approach me, don't approach me. And now, again, he very well may have harassed her or been creepy or whatever, and that's terrible. I do not condone that or whatever, but at the same time, you kind of have to rely in situations like this on the reliability of the narrator. And when it comes to someone who is ranting, I'm not entirely sure how reliable that narrator is. A lot of people seem to clown on Greg for saying number one fear of men, rejection, right? And I tend to agree a little bit. I do not think that the number one fear of men is rejection. Based off of what I have heard talking to other guy friends, and even just my own experiences, is a big fear of men when it comes to approaching people, talking to people, dating, or even just getting out there and socializing, is the exact fear of being labeled as a creep or a harasser unjustly. And that's the issue, is we do not know what happened. The only two people who know what happened in that TikTok are the girl and the guy that approached her, and the guy that approached her doesn't seem to be making any video responses. And so when you look through the comments, you see kind of people start to fill in blanks, where it's like the main criticism against Greg is people saying like, oh, she doesn't owe you anything, she doesn't owe you her time, she doesn't owe you a response, she's allowed to say no. That's a big one, is, oh, women are allowed to say no. No one's saying that you aren't allowed to say no. It's just like, be sociable and be nice. Oh, no, we don't owe you being nice. No, you don't, but like, I don't know, I'm somebody who believes that you should genuinely or generally try to be nice to people around you, try and talk to people around you, smile more. And I'm not even saying smile more in the terms of, oh, women should smile more. I mean, literally everybody, men, women, or circles, should smile more. Everybody is just so locked up in their own socially isolated bubble, and everybody always has this resting angry face, myself included sometimes. And it's just, I think that it's best if we just kind of talk to people more. Humans are social creatures by definition, and yet the vast majority of people nowadays, I can't remember the statistic off the top of my head, but it's the majority of people, young people, would self-identify as having no friends. We are in an age where communication is the easiest it has ever been in all of human history, and yet people are the loneliest they've ever been in recorded history, and it's crazy. I don't get it, because like, it's frustrating, because we talk a little bit, right? If you read the comments of literally his video or any video that is made in response to this, the top comment is almost always something along the lines of like, women's fear of getting killed trumps your fear of rejection, or the main fear of men is rejection, but the main fear of women is getting killed by men who can't take rejection. And I'm like, no, that is not the main fear of women. That is the main fear of paranoid women. And you should not conflate that, because if you are scared that every man you meet is going to murder you, you are insane. And I'm here to say it. You are fucking batshit crazy. You are paranoid. You are stupid. That is a stupid thought. And yes, like there is such a thing as being cautious. Can anybody? Is it possible for every man to meet to kill you? Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean everyone will. And if you're going around assuming everyone you meet's a fucking murderer, you are paranoid. Just like how, again, the main fear of men is getting falsely labeled as a harasser or as a creep. I know a lot of men who just swear off dating, who go their own way, MGTOW, and who are like, no, I don't talk to women anymore because every woman, I'm scared to be alone in a room with a woman because she could ruin my life by accusing me of something I didn't do. And I am here to say you are also equally paranoid. Yes, we all have reasons to have our fears, but that doesn't mean that we should let these fears and paranoias rule over us. I get it. Trust me. To the guys that are worried about being called a creep, I get it. I have that paranoia. I am nervous when of being called something I'm not. And I recognize that every time I talk to somebody, a woman, or anytime I'm alone with a woman, it is my word against hers, and no one will believe me. That's just the reality of the situation. And honestly, making this video and talking about this is making me nervous. It's why I'm a little bit more jittery than usual, and I'm talking a little bit faster, stuttering a little bit more, because I know I'm worried about the same types of idiots that were going after Greg coming after me. I'm thinking about all the stuff that people are going to say about me, trying to ruin my life because I don't have money for lawyers and shit. And I'm worried that people are going to label me falsely as something that I'm not. Oh, well, if you weren't a creep, you shouldn't be worried of being called a creep. Yeah? I have been falsely accused of harassment before. There are 3 videos on my channel that talk about it. I will link them. Go watch them, because I did not harass her, and yet there were people who continuously pushed and probably still push the narrative that I did. And if I didn't release those screenshots like I did in those videos, who would believe me? Especially if you didn't know who I was. And so I get it. I understand the paranoia, especially if you've had multiple negative experiences on either end. If you're a guy that is used to getting people calling you a creep for just walking up and saying hi, yes, I get that. I get the paranoia of like, okay, I'm done. I am not doing this anymore. And at the same time with women, if you are used to guys really creeping on you, catcalling you, and calling you all these horrible whatevers, if you're used to guys creeping on you, I get it. Once bitten, twice shy, I believe is the phrase. But at the same time, you should not let that paranoia grip you and rule over your life, because then all those negative experiences, all those horrible people, all those people that you absolutely hate win, because they are controlling you. Yes, I understand the fears. I understand the paranoias. I live it. But every day I tell myself that I am fucking insane, because I do not want to live my life paranoid. I want to tell myself that, yeah, there are, sure, among all the horrible times people have treated me terribly, and I have been treated terribly by a ton of people, men, women, and circles. Just talk to Josh. Josh knows of all the people, even here on YouTube, who have screwed me over, or who have, said one thing and done another, or said one thing and meant another, or smiled in my face and stabbed me in the back. They pull me in for a hug, but they're really driving a dagger in my back. And so, but at the same time, Josh also knows that I don't want to let that reflect what I think humanity is. I am not a religious man, but I believe that everybody believes in God to a certain extent. We all put our faith in something, and I choose to put my faith in people, despite the fact that almost time and time again, my faith is not rewarded. And Josh has asked me, well, why do you keep doing it if it's really hard for, if people don't really show you that they deserve that faith? And I looked at him and said, well, Josh, that is why it is called faith. And the issue is that my faith is rarely rewarded, but it's not never rewarded. People like Josh are the reason why I continue to place my faith in people. And I have met some amazing women who are able to talk with me, who are able to have long, intelligent conversations, even if we disagree, who are able to look at things and be reasonable. And I've met a lot of people who are unable to do that. But I take that same mentality towards everything, and I encourage a lot of other people to take that mentality as well. No matter how horrible you are treated, or no matter how many negative experiences you have with a certain demographic, be it men, women, or dare I enter into race with things like Muslims or black people with crime rates and stuff, if I dare risk getting called a racist for this, no matter how many negative experiences you have, white people with all these different demographics, it's important to remember that the vast majority of those people are not bad. I just like to consider myself unlucky, you know, and honestly, I think a lot of time there is a certain amount of confirmation bias. In life, a lot of things are look and you shall find. So if you are looking to call men creeps, and someone just walks up and says, hey, like, I think you're very pretty, I would like to get to know you, maybe could I get your number or something, we could go out. If you are looking for a reason to think that he's a creep, that can come off as extremely creepy. But if you are looking to socialize and maybe make some new friends or talk to people, maybe it could come off as a little bit more favorably. And I think another thing is, and a lot of people bring this up, is that looks play into it, is that, you know, creeps are really only creeps if they are not a 9.9 on the Richter scale. Because, yeah, and I do think there is a little bit of that, too, of how a person looks and presents themselves, obviously, factors into whether or not he's a creep. Someone could be completely genuine towards me, but if he looks homeless, is wearing raggedy clothes, smells like a dumpster, I'm gonna be creeped out. However, if someone's, you know, presentable and say, you know, relatively well-spoken, things change. And that's the issue with this sort of dynamic, is there's so much that is up for interpretation. There is so much that we do not know that people just fill in the blanks with their own experiences, right? Because and when that happens, you can kind of see where people tend to what people tend to assume about others. Because Greg assumes the best. Greg says he was just trying to socialize. He thought you were pretty. He was giving you a compliment. Why, you know, just say thank you, I'm busy, leave. Be courteous. Whereas a lot of the people in these comment sections assume the absolute worst. Like, oh, he's creeping on her. He was catcalling her. He's like, oh, can I get your number? In like the first 5 seconds of them interacting, and she's allowed to say no. If she says no, you should not continue to push her. She didn't even mention, to my knowledge, her saying no and him continuing to push her. Where did that come from? You see that where what people assume about others in their responses to this. Greg assumed the best. Others assumed the worst. And honestly, one thing that I was taught in grade 9 through 12, because I had the same history teacher, was something that I stick with me now, is that the truth is probably not, you do not normally find the truth on either end of two extremes. The truth is somewhere in the middle. So was he a perfect saint that was just trying to pay her a compliment and be nice? Probably not. Did he do something, even if he was, did he do some things wrong that could have come off as creepy? Probably. But at the same time, was he some creep harasser saying, hey, can I get your number? And continuing to pressure her after she said no? Probably not as well. You know, what's that mathematical equation that I saw in Brendan Gage's video when it comes to risk or something? The actual value of something that you do not know is the difference. So it's like if you either have 0 or 100, the actual value is 50. That's the way I see it. Like, because I do not like to assume the worst in people. And I know a lot of people may say that that's kind of hypocritical of me. Like, oh, look at all the rants you've made. Look at the names you've called people. And you don't like assuming the worst. No, I don't. And that's why I have that series on my channel where I talk about people proving me wrong. Because who likes to assume the worst in people and be right? Oftentimes, I actively assume the best in people. And sometimes, more often than not, it screws me over. But I do it because I do not want to give in to bitterness. And that is what all these people are doing. Our fear of being killed trumps your fear of rejection. The number one fear of women is being killed by men. You have let yourself become bitter, and it is going to ruin you. I'm not saying don't, just trust every guy you see. Recognize the possibility of things, but don't just immediately assume that everyone out there is out to hurt you. And that is something I personally struggle with. As someone who has been screwed over by so many people, it is very difficult for me not to be bitter. But it is something that I actively put an effort in my day-to-day to say, no, I refuse to be bitter. I refuse to assume the worst in people, because assuming the worst in people is how I become the worst of people. And that is why I believe that we can't socialize anymore. And then everyone talks about and then I've seen a lot of things where it's like, oh, there's a time and place to socialize. Where is that time and place? Where is it? I can't talk to people at the gas station because it's a creepy place. I'm just there to get gas and I want to get out of there. You can't talk to people at the grocery store because it's creepy. I just want to get my groceries and go home. Leave me alone. You can't talk to me at Starbucks while I'm getting my drink because I'm just there. I'm there for me. I'm not there for you. I just want to work on my laptop and go home. You can't talk to people at the library because I'm not there to socialize. I'm there to study. Can't talk to people on campus. I'm not there for you. I'm there to get my studies. I'm there to hang out with my friends and go home. What about the bar and the club? Can't do that because first of all, most people are intoxicated. I don't fucking go to the bar. I don't drink, or the club, because I don't do drinks or wreck drugs or whatever. But from what I hear, I've heard people don't approach me at the bar or the club because one, I'm hammered, you're on drugs, we're intoxicated, I'm not making good decisions, don't approach me, I'm not there to meet you, I'm there to go to have a good time with my friends, how dare you approach me? There is no place to approach people and meet people anymore, even in social gatherings. I know people who go to social gatherings to socialize with their friends and say, hey, if I'm in a social place, don't talk to me because I'm just there with my friends. I'm at a party with my friends and I don't really want to get hit on by some creepy guy that just wants to have sex with me. And it's like, then where do we meet people? Where do we talk to people? Online dating? Window shopping? It's so funny because women are like, men treat us like objects, and then the only place where it's acceptable to talk to them or try to hook up or meet someone or date is the literal place that encourages you to treat humans like objects. We go window shopping, swipe, swipe, swipe. Oh, you're not pretty. Oh, there's your bio that I don't know you. I'm reading I don't know the number of characters. I don't I don't online date, but it's like, oh, let me read a quick 2 paragraphs to get an idea of what you're like. Let me see what your fucking pictures are, and then I swipe and to make a decision. We are window shopping humans, and you don't like it when people objectify you, and yet the only place to talk to you is a place that is built to objectify people. Humans, not women, men and women, because the dating scene, what's it called? The dating sites are it's statistically incredibly stacked in favor of women. Men, it is a hard knock life for men on those sites, at least from what I've heard and from the data that I've seen collected, because again, I don't go on dating sites. I don't want to go on dating sites. I don't want to window shop people. I would much rather just randomly meet someone naturally at the store and say, and talk about something common interests than window shop humans. But that's apparently the only acceptable thing now. And yet, and that is why I believe that we are becoming more and more antisocial as a society, especially with the Cove going on now. Because with the Cove, everyone's encouraged to stay inside, to not socialize. And so social skills are exactly that, skills. Use them or lose them. I'm an incredibly social person, but even me, I am having trouble socializing now. Because it's just so hard to meet people. Greg brings up an amazing point too in the video that he put out, where it's like, I only go to the gym, the gas station, and the store. I don't go anywhere else. And that's another one. The gym. People, it's such a big debate. Should we approach people at the gym? A lot of women say, oh, don't look at me at the gym. Don't stare at me at the gym. Don't approach me at the gym. I'm just there to work out and leave. And yet, that Joe Frazier video where the girl's like, hey, listen, if you're attractive, you can approach me. It's like, listen, you don't have to date everyone that approaches you, but you can still be nice and still be social. At the end of the day, see it as practicing your social skills, because socialization is important. Use your social skills or lose them. And I'm passionate about this because I believe strongly in human connection. I am somebody who has lived the vast majority of his life alone, who has been struggling alone for a vast majority of his life, fighting alone. I value every single person that talks to me and that cares about me and that makes an effort to go out and talk to me. That's why I say, talk to me on Instagram. Don't worry about bothering me, because I will respond to you when I'm busy. If I'm being bothered by you, I simply won't reply, and then I'll reply when I can. So feel free to DM me and talk to me. It's fine. But it's like, we are losing our ability to socialize, and we are seeing the others, anyone we do not know, as an enemy. And yet, how do we get to know people? By socializing. And then people bring up victim blaming. Oh, she was a victim of harassment. You are victim blaming. How dare you say, well, why don't you just talk to him for a little bit? But let's talk about victim blaming here, because everybody always talks about justice for the accuser. What about justice for the accused? Right? And again, it comes down to that. How do you see people? What do you view people as? Do you view them as bad? Or do you view them as good? Or do you view them with the potential to just be the worst, or the potential? Because in the reality, we're all good, we're all bad. We all have the potential to do amazing things, and we all have the potential to do the most horrid atrocities humanity's ever seen. And so, there's just, when people say, like, don't victim blame, right? Because there is such little information we actually know based off of this girl's video, right? What if the guy that approached her was the victim? What if she was, making him out to be a creep when he really wasn't? And what if, and he hasn't even the chance to defend himself, right? And sure, she didn't name the guy, which, good. But just look at how people are reacting. And again, we do not know how truthful we do not know how truthful this person is. We don't know what the, how reliable a narrator this person is. And so when it comes down to stuff like this, like, just because someone complains doesn't necessarily mean they're a victim. The guy could have been the victim of cyberbullying. Imagine you're that person who approached her, and you, were truly just thought she was pretty, wanted to get to know her better, maybe go out on a date. And then you see this blow up like this, and everyone is saying, oh, the guy was a creep, when you were like, no, I just wanted to talk to her, right? Even if she didn't name him. Everybody talks about mental health. Everybody talks about the importance of mental health. And yet, everybody seems to toss away the mental health debate when it's men. Or specifically in this situation, at least in my experience. And that upsets me, Everybody uses mental health as an excuse to hide behind, and a shield to hide behind. Oh, well, him approaching me triggered my panic attack and negatively affected my mental health. But, you don't know. One, we do not know if this guy was a creep. He genuinely could have been, or he genuinely could have not have been. So why are there so many people acting like this guy was definitively a creep? If he wasn't, imagine how badly that could have affected his mental health. Not only that, but the main message of Coach Greg's video isn't the guy was in the right or the guy was in the wrong. That's not the takeaway message, and that's what everybody seems to be taking away from the video. The takeaway message from Greg's video is be nice to each other. Let's talk to each other. If somebody approaches you, be willing to smile and have a conversation. You don't necessarily have to give out your number. You don't necessarily have to be interested in the guy or the girl or the circle. But I do think, and you don't owe him anything, but I think us as humans owe each other kindness. You don't have to respect everyone you meet. You don't have to like everyone you meet. But I think you can be polite to people you meet, that you can strike up a conversation, be friendly. Because honestly, for people who don't get a lot of social interaction, whether it's whatever reason, maybe it could be a reason that's completely out of his control or your control. But for someone who doesn't get a lot of social interaction, for someone who spends a lot of time by themselves and just, sometimes maybe wants someone to talk to, a simple 5-second conversation, 10-second conversation, hey, how you doing? Oh, it's great, beautiful weather we're having. Yeah, it's really warm out. Something like that can really make a person's day. Sometimes it's, you go through your entire day feeling unimportant and worthless, and sometimes someone just treating you with the smallest act of kindness can really brighten up a person's day. And I take massive issue with so many people getting so upset about stuff like this, because you don't know. None of us know. And you don't know what kind of day or what kind of impact you can make, positive or negative. There's a great saying, and it's, your defining moment is someone else's Tuesday, right? So your random 1-minute conversation with some idiot you didn't even really want to talk to might be the one thing that kind of gives him the little pep he needs to get through the day. Or she. It could be a girl. Maybe she needs that too. Anybody. I'm not talking gender specific here. And it's upsetting. I think there's a lot of division and divisiveness in this, and again, I do understand that people do get harassed and people are creeps, but at the end of the day, I genuinely think that people should put more effort into socialize, to talk to each other, and to do their best to assume the best in people, not the worst, which is the message that Greg put out in his video. And it saddens me that people ignore the positive message in favor of attacking him for a perceived negative one. But that's all I have to say for today. Here's hoping I don't get called a harasser or whatever, or a creep or not. But I think it was important to get my thoughts out into the world. So till the next one, I am not dead yet. If you aren't either, remember, there is always a tomorrow waiting for you. Oh, and only the strong subscribe.